The Spiritual Intelligence IES proposal regarding the SIMBRE concept includes items I to L. SIMBRE, by definition, does not suffer because it is not connected to the body as the ego is. For this, we must apply the tools of the SIMBRE, tools that must be apprehended, such as detachment, personal psychospiritual plant, in order to readjust the zero level in solitude and recover the basic happiness. These are important concepts that we will present later as part of our proposal. Each and every suffering is the psychological reaction to any painful event or experience. This causes the presence of certain undesirable neurotransmitters in the brain, especially in the synergic neuronal circuits S and Cs of the cerebral amygdala, such as dynorphin, monoamine oxidase, or adrenaline, and others. Warning signs and concerns are activated in the sympathetic nervous system, similar to the emotional discomfort of the basic structures of consciousness of the ego. In those cases where the ego perceives ludic things and enjoys pleasure, the cerebral amygdala also feels pleasure through endorphins or enkephalin. That is to say that SIMBRE, upon dissociating itself from the ego, assumes in the lucidity of the screen the meaning of the expression, "I do not confuse what I am with what I have." Thus, ego perceives the emotions of suffering or pleasure. The mind does not perceive those. In unfavorable situations, with the technique of detachment, the SIMBRE is able and must transmute by doing cathexis in order to convert the energy of suffering into constructive feelings of peace, harmony, or action, and obtain the benefits from the stimuli that rebalance and pacify it. This allows to project now the benefits to be achieved in the future. From that very moment on, the SIMBRE must produce a psychological bonanza of serenity. The reasonable hope of knowing that it will grow spiritually by transcending the ego, by expanding the capacity as SIMBRE to know truth better, to feel love better, and do better altruistic goodness with truth and love. K. To rebalance the ego by practicing detachment. That is, by making the ego independent of emotional attachments, which makes it dependent on all the external satisfiers, on people, on things, and cherished values, whose absence causes suffering. Likewise, it is necessary to be detached from external dissatisfiers such as people, things, or anti-values, because such presence also makes the ego suffer. L. Permanent rebalance, required to break free of spiritual poverty, is achieved by reprogramming with plasticity of the basic structures of consciousness of the ego That is, the flexibility to reconnect its pre-established circuits that must be optimized because they are flawed. Thus, the basic structures of consciousness, BSCs, that manage biological intelligence, instructed by the basic structures of consciousness, BSCs, of evolutionary and psychological intelligence, will do the same. And through neurological plasticity, they will optimize the connections in the synergic neuronal circuits, SNCs, for the correct flow of synaptic neurotransmitters. We must remember that spiritual intelligence IES has developed with the integration of follow-up meditation techniques, visualization, and neurolinguistic programming, an effective way to direct the optimization of the basic structures of consciousness, BSCs, and the synergic neuronal circuits, SNCs. They are a crucial part of the application of our short-term proposal, and must be done through cognitive therapies that will serve for the rehabilitation, at least partial, of those seriously ill with spiritual poverty.